So you want to build a custom A5. I definitely think it's a great idea. There are a couple of things you want to look for though when selecting the A5. The first and most important thing is make sure the load gate can move without having to push this button. The one I did, you actually have to hold the button to do the load gate, and it's not very practical. It's kind of a pain to load. What you're going to want to do for the tube extender is use a Remington 870. The one shown in the picture, that's actually a 4-round magazine extender, and I cut the barrel down to 19.5, or I think 19 inches flat. It's not going to screw on all the way though, because the tube that comes up where it would screw on is slightly longer. You have a couple of options there. One, you can take your hacksaw and just cut it. It's got nice fat threads, so you don't have to worry about the threads lining up. Go on clean. That's what I did on the one shown in the picture. Or you can use one of those sling. It's a sling mount right there, and that'll take up the extra space, and then it'll lock on nicely. Definitely something you're going to have to decide for yourself. The next thing, you got a couple different barrel choices. I prefer this one, and then cutting it down. I just think it looks more older. The rib barrel, this would still probably look fine, but it almost looks too modern for me. It would actually be easier to put the front sight back on this one than it would that one. Because that you just tap, thread in the sight. This has got to be soldered on. And if you're like me and you can't solder, it can be quite difficult. I actually attempted it like 80 times. Just when I thought it was perfect, lined up straight, flick it and it'd fall off. So then you got to call your friend to come solder it. And you bring him everything he wants. A Big Mac, a chili cheese burrito, bag of Doritos, some beer. And then he's like, well, I can't solder in these kind of conditions. You're like, what do you mean? It's like a perfect 72 degrees and I brought everything you want. Solder doesn't set right without the song Freebird playing. And you just get to the point where you're like, just please solder that on the barrel for me before I throw the whole thing away. Gets done and it makes it look so simple. You're like, dude, get out of here before I throat chop you. Other than that, like, a lot of these, the stocks will crack all the way through. I actually had that problem with the one I did. What I did, I put a shop vac on this side and I just fed glue on this side until it started coming out, clamped it. Held strong, shot quite a bit of rounds without any issues. Now if you cut the barrel down like I did, you have zero choke. I think it's actually quite wide. At like 7 yards, that's about your sweet spot for patterning on a human-sized target. At about 10 yards, you'll start patterning outside of a human-sized target. Now, a couple of people told me that you can use some sort of special wad that'll keep the pattern tighter. I like to stay away from specialty stuff just because, you know, I like to be able to go to the store, buy what I want, and not have to order it or be dependent on ordering something. Also, these with reloaded ammo, where the round goes in here, it's really super tight. So if you're using reloaded ammo and the brass has any nicks on it, they'll get hung up there. You might be able to bore this out a little bit wider and avoid that problem. Otherwise, just stick with factory ammo and they run great. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to read the comments because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that know a whole lot more about these A5s that'll have more suggestions. You'll leave it in the comments below. Also, if you know a company that sells a factory barrel with an actual choke inside of it that's like 19 inches, 18 and a half inches that I could just buy with a front sight already on it, post the link in the comments because I am going to do another one of these and I'm going to do it a little bit different.